Hi friends, welcome to Read With Me. Today we will be reading a chapter book called Mr. Putter and Tabby Bake the Cake. The author is Cynthia Rylant and the illustrator is Arthur Howard. Let's begin. Chapter 1. A Good Cake. It was wintertime. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby sat at their window every night to watch the snow come down. They watched and dreamed. Mr. Putter dreamed of the big red sled he rode as a boy. He dreamed of snowmen big as a house. Those are fun wintertime activities, sled riding and building snowmen. Tabby dreamed too. She dreamed of the snowdrifts she walked on as a kitten. She dreamed of deep tunnels through white yards. Mr. Putter and Tabby were old now. They had a lot to dream about. That is why they loved wintertime. They also loved wintertime because wintertime brought Christmas. Christmas is my favorite holiday. What is your favorite holiday? Mr. Putter loved to give Christmas presents. He started thinking about Christmas presents in July. He liked to think of what he could give to the grocer and the librarian and to the postman. Mr. Putter also had to think of what he could give to his neighbor, Mrs. Teaberry. This was hardest of all. He usually had to think about this all the way to December. Mr. Putter is still trying to think about what to give Mrs. Teaberry. Mrs. Teaberry liked strange things. She liked coconuts made into monkey heads. She liked salt shakers that walked across the table. She liked dresses for her teapots. She even liked fruitcake. Mr. Putter could live with monkey heads and walking salt shakers and dressed up teapots. But Mr. Putter could not believe that Mrs. Teaberry liked fruitcake. He could not believe that anyone liked fruitcake. Do you like fruitcake? Have you ever tasted fruitcake? It's definitely not my favorite. Every Christmas, Mrs. Teaberry ate mounds of fruitcake. It worried Mr. Putter. This winter, it was worrying him a lot. He thought Mrs. Teaberry should have a good cake for Christmas. Not a fruit cake that could break her toe if she dropped it. A good cake. A light and airy cake. One night, as he and Tabby sat dreaming at their snowy window, that is what he decided to give Mrs. Teaberry for Christmas. Mr. Putter would bake her a Christmas cake. It would be a cinch. Do you think Mr. Putter is going to be able to make Mrs. Teaberry a cake? Let's find out. Chapter 2. No pans. How can he bake a cake without any pans? The cake was not a cinch. In the first place, Mr. Putter did not know how to bake a cake. He could bake instant muffins. He could bake instant popovers. But he had never baked a cake. He didn't know how. He's wondering what to do. In the second place, Mr. Putter had no pans. He had muffin pans, he had popover pans, but he had no cake pans. If he baked a cake, it would have to be in a shoe, or maybe a flower pot, or even a hat, but not in a cake pan, because he did not have one. Would you eat a cake that was in a shoe or a flower pot or a hat? I most certainly wouldn't. I think Mr. Putter better come up with a better plan. And in the third place, Mr. Putter had no cookbook. He had books on seaweed, he had books on clouds, he had books on Chinese trees, but he had no cookbooks. Mr. Putter thought about no cookbooks, no cake pans, and the fact that he did not bake cakes. Then he said to Tabby, Maybe for Christmas, Mrs. Teaberry would like a nice cup of tea and a card. He's running out of ideas. Chapter 3. Mary Sue. 1 week before Christmas, Mr. Putter and Tabby took a trip to the sweet shop. It was owned by a woman famous for her cakes. She baked cakes with names like Strawberry Watermelon Pumpkin Apple Brownie Surprise. That would be a unique flavor. I don't know if I would try it. Her name was Mary Sue, and if anyone could teach Mr. Putter to bake a cake, it would be she. Mr. Putter told her his story. He wanted to bake a Christmas cake, he said. Something light, something airy, something that would not break a person's toe. Mary Sue listened carefully. She took good notes, and then she began to sell him things. She sold Mr. Putter 7 bowls. She sold Mr. Putter 3 sifters. She sold Mr. Putter 10 spoons, 5 cups, 2 spatulas, a roll of waxed paper, and a Christmas tree pan. Then she sold him an Easy Baker cookbook and sent him out the door. Mr. Putter has his hands full. Mr. Putter had spent $100 and he still didn't have any flour. Chapter 3. Something Airy. On Christmas Eve, Mr. Putter had everything he needed. He had flour, sugar, eggs. He had spoons, bowls, sifters. He had a cookbook. He had a pan. And he had a good cat to keep him company. Look, Tabby is curled up in a bowl, while Mr. Putter is trying to read the recipe and bake the cake. Mr. Putter baked all night long. His first cake fell flat. Look, it's not very light and fluffy and airy. His second cake wouldn't leave the pan. His third cake caught on fire. Oh no, he had to put out the fire. By the time he baked his 4th cake, it was Christmas morning. Mr. Putter's eyes were droopy. His face was saggy. He was moving very slowly. I hope his 4th time worked. Oh, it looks like it did. But Mr. Putter did not give up. And by 9 o'clock in the morning, he had made the most beautiful Christmas cake in the whole world. It was light. It was airy. It would not break a person's toe. He woke up Tabby, and together they took the cake to Mrs. Teaberry. Do you think Mrs. Teaberry will like it? I'm sure she will. Mrs. Teaberry was delighted. She was thrilled. She was patient. Wonder why she had to be patient. Look at Mr. Putter. Because as soon as Mr. Putter sat down in her chair, he fell asleep. And she had to wait 12 hours before she could cut her cake. She wouldn't have any without Mr. Putter, and that is how long he slept. When he finally woke up, Mrs. Teaberry was there with Tabby and her own dog, Zeke, and they ate cake, and they drank tea, and watched the snow fall all night long. And Mr. Putter and Tabby went home with a very nice toaster that sang America the Beautiful when the bread popped up. I think they're not quite sure about this singing toaster. And I'll bet that is what Mrs. Teaberry gave him. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Until next time.